Today it's day 3 and we're gonna prove a trigonometric identity. So the question is that we should prove that 1 minus cotangent of 23 equals to 2 over 1 minus cotangent of 22. So let's go. Well, the first thing that we might do is simply multiply by 1 minus cotangent of 22 so that we get a product. Secondly, it would be also important to notice that the cotangent is the inverse function of the tangent. So if the tangent of x is sine over cosine, the cotangent is going to be cosine over sine. And because of that, we can simply plot in. So that we have this new product, 1 minus cosine of 23 divided by sine of 23 times 1 minus cosine of 22 over sine of 22 equals to 2. So now we have a new question, and it would be to how can we conclude this product so that we get a 2. Now the first thing which would be important to notice is that we can also rewrite the number 1 as a sine of 23 divided by sine of 23, which is still 1, so that we have for the first factor sine of 23 minus cosine of 23 over sine of 23, and for the second factor we can rewrite the 1 as a sine of 22, so that we get sine of 22 minus cosine of 22 equals to sine of 22. And since we have a minus between the sine and the cosine, we might think of using the subtraction formula, and this is exactly the right way to go for it. We're going to apply the subtraction formula for the sine in this case, and we know that the sine of alpha minus beta equals to sine of alpha times cosine of beta minus sine of beta times cosine of alpha. And we have 23 and 22, and since we know that the sum of these two numbers is 45, we might try to substitute alpha for 45 and beta for 23, since we are calculating the sine of 22 or 23. So we have for beta either 23 degrees or 22, but let's try with 23 to see what we're going to get. This simply means that the sine of 45 minus 23, so the sine of 22, is going to be, if we plot in the values for alpha and beta, sine of 45 times cosine of 23 minus sine of 23 times cosine of 45. But what's interesting now is that since we used 45 degrees as a measure, we know that the sine of 45 is the square root of 2 over 2, and that is also the same value for the cosine of 45. So that we get this new term at the end, square root of 2 divided by 2 times cosine of 23 degrees minus square root of 2 over 2 times sine of 23 degrees. This is very important also for 22 degrees, but if we continue, we can also factor out square root of 2 over 2. So we get that the square root of 2 over 2 equals to, so that the term is square root of 2 over 2 times parentheses cosine of 23 minus sine of 23. But in the expression we have over there, we have a sine minus cosine, so we just multiply with minus 1, and we get that sine of 22 is basically minus square root of 2 over 2 times parentheses sine of 23 minus cosine of 23. And we can also do the same thing for the sine of 23 degrees, and we get a similar result. We get that the sine of 23 degrees equals to minus square root of 2 over 2 times parentheses sine of 22 minus cosine of 22. And this is very important because what we can do now is substitute in the denominator for sine of 23 what we got, and also for sine of 22. If we do it, we're going to get that sine of 23, we plot in the value we got from the last equation, and we do the same for sine of 22. So we get this factor, which simply means that sine 23 minus cosine of 23 over the term we plotted in times the other term we already had. But now the things get very interesting, because we can cancel out sine 23 minus cosine of 23 with the sine of 23 minus cosine of 23 we got in the second denominator, and we can also cancel out the second numerator with the first denominator, so that we simply get that 1 over square root of 2 over 2 negative times 1 divided by minus square root of 2 over 2. This is simply going to mean that 2 times 2 over square root of 2 times square root of 2. And this simply means that we have 4 over 2, which is 2. And that is exactly the result we wanted to have. And because of that, we solved this question. Thank you for watching the video. And as always, please like and comment whether you got the solution or not, and subscribe for more.